Attorney Days, do we move on to the 2 violations for August 14 and 15 and September 17, 18, and 19?
My suggestion would be to wait until the end of the hearing so we can let some of the other folks go, especially well, Mr. Chen, who said that it looks like he's driving now to the neighborhood council meeting.
Okay.
If we could hear him and then go through the agenda from the top.
Okay, we can do that. So we have a new petition for a new annual all alcohol license for Karen Asian Barbecue, doing business as Korean Asia Barbecue, located at 1380 Boston Road. Ms. Ming Dong, manager of record. Mr. Chen, is you're not the manager of record, are you?
I am not. I'm the owner.
Okay. We usually ask that the manager of record is present.
Okay.
Yeah, the manager of record needs to be present.
Oh, I can get him in like 2 minutes.
Okay, but you had the time constraints. Why don't, well, I don't know, Madam Commissioner, it's how you want to proceed.
I think maybe we can continue to the next meeting on the 23rd.
I can try to get him online within a couple of minutes. Is that gonna be a little bit too much for you guys?
Well, we could take, I mean, if he thinks he can get him in 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes, we can take the first continued petition and then maybe revisit
sure
Okay.
them. If that's okay with the commissioners.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we can go ahead and go to the continued new petitions.
I have a question.
Yes, Peter.
Under new petitions, we have TJ's Wine and Spirits. Are we only ratifying the butter notification and we're done with that one? I was wondering if we could take that one quickly out of order and let Attorney Mantaleski go.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
So that was the only issue with that, right? That the abutter, like in the plaza, I guess, or abutting properties hadn't been notified, and Attorney Mantaleski sent those today.
Right.
And I forwarded them to Anna and Rosa, so we have what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And do we need anything else? Alicia, does this have to be bifurcated, or can this just go to Boston after this?
It can go to Boston.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
You know what though, Peter, you know what? I'm gonna have to double check that because they have public input, and I don't know if public input is required for a change of location. That I don't know off the top of my head, but we will, I will have Anna reach out one way or another to Attorney Mantaleski, and I'm probably butchering your name and I apologize in advance, but on tomorrow to see if it needs to be bifurcated.
Okay.
So on the paperwork that I have, advertisement required for change of location, which is what we just received. Okay.
Okay, so that would lead me to conclude, especially, it would lead me to conclude that there's public input that's required, so it would have to be bifurcated.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So would I go ahead and make a motion to
Yeah, why don't we hear from Attorney Mantaleski so we can let her go with respect to this one.
Okay. Attorney Mantaleski.
Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Peter. Yes, thank you, Commissioners and Mr. Signatory. I don't know why my camera's not working, but I'm here, and I hope you can hear me. So yeah, so we are simply seeking a ratification of the commissioner's approval of the transfer of the license from Verge Street over to Haymarket Square. There was an issue that abutters notices did not go out to the previous hearings. We wanted to make sure that they did have, that all the abutters had appropriate notification. It was published, and I provided the proof to the commission as well as the registered mail receipts for the abutters.
Okay.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions?
No.
No. I did receive the information that Peter sent me today. Okay,
Great.
so
I'm sorry, can everybody mute themselves? Thank you.
Okay. Well, I make a motion.
I think it's you, Mr. Patel. Can you mute yourself?
I'm on mute.
No, I can hear you. Okay, let's see what we got now.
We all can hear you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I make a motion to I make a motion I'm sorry, I just froze myself.
All right, that's all right, that's all right.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to continue this to the next hearing.
March
to allow for
23rd.
public input.
So I make a motion that we continue this petition for change of location to our next meeting on March 23rd, 2022.
Second.
Do I hear it? Second? Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
And Commissioner Espinosa, yes. We will see you on the 23rd of March. Attorney Madulowski.
Thank you, commissioners, and hopefully next time you will actually see my face and not just my voice.
Okay, have a good night.
Night, Jane.
Thank you all. You too.
Take care.
Mr. Kareem, Min Chan, Mr. Chan, are you on?
I think he's connecting.
Seems like he's connecting. Okay, we can go ahead with the continued new petitions. Our first continued petition is Rose Entertainment, doing business as Rose, located at 555 Worthington Street. Antron Goodrich, manager of record.
Yes, how you doing?
Good evening, Malia. Attorney Days, do you know if we received any public input?
None other than what, if you guys received something from the council, which I don't believe you did.
No. Any of the commissioners received any input for Rose?
I just did receive a letter. I guess it was from people in the community indicated that they thought that it was a good business to move forward with.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that that we approve the all alcohol restaurant license for Rose Entertainment, doing business as Rose, located at 555 Worthington Street. Antron Goodrich, manager of record. Do I hear a second?
Second.
The neighborhood council and the planning board have recommended a midnight closing restriction. And that's normally the way we go with new licensees with which we have no prior history. So I would, if we're going to approve this, I would recommend we start at least with a midnight closing restriction. Does anybody have feelings on that?
I would like to ask for a 2 p.m.
We're in deliberation now, so.
No, I don't have anything.
No, I don't either. That's what we usually do. That's what we do.
They stay consistent.
Okay, so I make a motion that we accept the piano license with a midnight closing of midnight.
Before you make the motion, can I, if we're gonna be consistent, you know, the taco spot that is in downtown, that is a restaurant, Del Rey, they are a new place, open until 2 a.m. They are a restaurant, open until 2 a.m. Marley's, she was also a new licensee with no experience, a restaurant on Boston Road, open until 2 a.m. So I'm just gonna ask for the same consistency with me. You know, I have an experienced manager on record, and you know, I have an experienced chef, and you know, basically all the problems that you guys said that was wrong in the first, you know, I've made the space smaller. So I'm just gonna ask for consistency with everyone else in downtown that's open until 2 a.m. so that I can kind of try to stay open as long as possible to make as much money back as possible, because I've been going through the process a while.
Any feedback from the commissioners?
I think the neighborhood was in favor of the 2 a.m. closing restrictions on those other licensees she's mentioned.
Can I speak?
Like the one on Bay Street that we just approved with a 2 a.m. neighborhood council approved that. So did planning board. That's
I thought.
Can I speak?
Okay, so just as a point of clarification, I'll let you go after Mr. Goodrich. But so a couple of things. I think history has been that new establishments, sometimes it was felt by planning, neighborhood council, that there should be a midnight restriction. I think we've honored that in most cases. However, as I've communicated widely, and I want to communicate yet again, they are recommendations, and the neighborhood council is a recommendation, but ultimately the board has the decision with respect to the hours. So I would just, you know, put that out there. So, I mean, and I don't know that I was privy to some of the discussion before, as I've just come back, right, to the License Commission hearings. But if there was discussion before with respect to this particular establishment, I'm not privy to that, but maybe that is, so based on that, I just want to, you know, I want to put that out there, and then we can continue the discussion going forward.
Additionally, we've also indicated to licensees that have a 12 o'clock closing that we gave them a 6 months period.
Yeah.
In order, if they had no incidents or anything like that, then they could go to the 2 a.m. I know we've done that previously as well.
Correct.
Correct. But for some reason that didn't happen with Marley's or Del Rey. Or, you know, like all of my neighbors, all of my quote unquote competition are open until 2 in the area. And then you have the casino that's 24/7. So, you know, starting off as a new small business, I just want to be able to keep up with my competition.
And I said before, I've worked in the downtown area for 6 years and dealt with a 2 a.m. closing during my whole duration of my career. And the capacity level was at a much higher, and the whole environment was totally different from a restaurant, which is, you know, something in this case is like.
Okay. Well, I myself, taken into consideration with Attorney Days, just mentioned that is, you know, is just a recommendation and it should not weigh on our decision.
Well, no, let me just clarify. It can weigh on your decision. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It can weigh on your decision. But as I tell all licensees, it's not dispositive, meaning that if just because, you know, the recommendations come through, it's not required by the board to do that, because you ultimately decide. But clearly, I want to make sure I'm clear about this. You can consider the recommendation of planning and the neighborhood council. that can weigh into your decision of whether or not, you know, whatever time you impose.
Okay. So do any of the commissioners have a, want to modify the motion that I made?
What motion did you make?
Well, I had originally said to approve with a midnight closing. Do we want to modify and say midnight closing for 6 months, or do we want to just go ahead and take into consideration what Ms. Fiore is saying, and, you know, being consistent and giving her the 2 a.m. closing?
I kind of agree that there are other businesses in the area that open to 2 a.m. and if she's going to be competitive, at least she would have that opportunity to do so as well. I think she's been in this process for a long time, and as she indicated, she's been, you know, spending money. I know it's very costly. So I would like to give her that opportunity and perhaps to go to 2, but if there's any violations that happen, I think that we should give her whatever penalty that would come with that.
So is your motion to approve with a 2 a.m.?
My motion is to approve for the 2 a.m. with if there's any violations that happen within maybe the first year or 6 months or whatever the case may be. Maybe for a succinct motion, I think 6 months. Anything happens within that 6 month period, then we would extend the violations.
I'm unclear. If something happens in the first 6 months, then what happens?
Well, that's what you just have to, whatever the violations that we come up with, the penalty would be for that.
Well, that would happen anyway, right?
That's up for the discussion as well. That have to be, I didn't hear you, Peter.
Are you saying, Andrew, kick it back to midnight if they have a violation in the first 6 months?
Well, that could be something that we could do.
No, you cannot roll hours back as a penalty for a violation, unfortunately. That's why we start with a earlier closing time and roll forward. You can only roll hours back as a general nuisance to the neighborhood, not as a penalty for a specific violation.
So what penalty could we do, Peter?
Well, it's been a long time since we've had an hours rollback, but if a license, we had a licensee that was, you know, the fights in the parking lot, gunshots being fired in the parking lot just consistently. So rather than hear a specific violation, we suggested a rollback of hours to 11 p.m. and then work back forward, you know, toward a later closing time to them. And that was not acceptable to them, so they turned the license in. That's how long ago we had that issue. So we have been told by the ABCC that an hours rollback cannot be a penalty for a specific violation. So if there was serving to minors, if there was a disturbance, we can't say, oh, it's the first 6 months and we're rolling it back to midnight. We can't do that, which is why we developed this roll forward technique, which has been successful in the past.
No, not always successful.
Well, no.
Not always successful.
Sometimes they don't make it, right?
If I may, Ms. Fiore, I just want you to understand that the neighborhood council makes those recommendations in the different neighborhoods in the city. Your location, your neighborhood council was recommending for a 12 o'clock closing. Marley's and the other locations, their neighborhood council agreed and recommended them the 2 o'clock slot. So with that going forward, but I do understand your situation and where you've been at this process for a long time. I feel you should be given a fair shot to stay open to 2 o'clock, but you just can't confuse yourself with the other neighborhood councils on their recommendation. So with that going forward, you have to take that in mind, that just because Marley was approved or the other restaurants were approved for 2 o'clock or recommended for 2 o'clock, and we took that decision, that recommendation, doesn't mean that we have to, in return, do the same you in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
So.
I definitely understand that. But as far as the Taco Del Rey, that's on the same street, so it's the same neighborhood council.
Right.
That's why I asked for the consent.
I get that, but I just want you to keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. All the neighborhood councils definitely have different opinions. But as far as like that neighborhood council, it's in the entertainment district, you know, so usually things are open a little bit later in the entertainment district.
So I do motion that we do grant to 2 o'clock. Like Commissioner Kincaid, it's whatever violation she occurs from there and then. I think it's in our decision to violate her in any which way that it's upon the commission. But I think the 2 a.m. was I think is sufficient and a go if all my fellow commissioners agree.
Thank you.
Is that a motion, Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes, I motion for 2 a.m.
Okay. Is there a second?
It's not a complete motion though, because there are some other things that you indicated. Was that for 6 months, or was it for a year, or what was that for?
Well, I think that if he makes the motion for the 2 a.m., there is, whether it's 6 months or a year, there is no difference, because according to what Peter said, it's not like we can go back.
Right.
So once the motion has been made for 2 a.m. and accepted for 2 a.m., it is 2 a.m. There is no 6 months or a year, so that we can up it, because 2 a.m. is.
So that would be my recommendation as well.
No, but let me clarify.
Okay.
You could up it, right? So we could go that way. You could go that way. So for example, not necessarily using Rose Entertainment, but there have been situations where there was initially a 12 a.m. closing time, and 6 months went by, 9 months went by, and they came back before the commission and asked that their hours be extended. So it can go that way.
I recommended that at first.
Other way.
Yes. I had recommended that at first.
Okay, and I'm sorry. So
that's right. Yep.
So many times in the past, when we were at this point of the year, we would approve somebody with a midnight closing to be revisited Memorial Day weekend, the first meeting in September. And if there had been no disturbances or violations, then we would step them forward to, say, a 1 a.m. closing, and then go another 6 months. And if there was no violations, then 2. That's the stepped approach that we go forward, like Alicia said. So we first meeting in September, we would expect a petition to say, we've been good all summer and we would like to be granted a later closing time, and then we would revisit that in September or whatever month we choose.
So Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes, I still make a motion for the 2 a.m.
So you wanna make a motion for the approval of the all alcohol license for Rose Entertainment, DBA Rose located at 555 Worthington Street, and Antron Goodrich, manager of record, with a closing of 2 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah, Madam Commissioner, though, just in terms of Robert's rules, we had another motion on the table, and that was proposed by Commissioner Cade. So I think you have to rule on that one first, and then go to Commissioner Ramirez's.
Okay.
If that doesn't pass.
Okay.
Or Andrew to withdraw his motion. Yes.
Yes, I agree to withdraw my motion. And
there you go.
Okay, so we can make note that Commissioner Cade withdrew his motion. Okay. So we go ahead with Commissioner Ramirez's motion to approve with a 2 a.m. closing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
No.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. So congratulations.
And I'm sorry, Madam Chair,
yes.
Chairperson. So in that case, the motion carries with 4 voting yes and 1 voting no. So just as a point of clarification.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Ms. Fiore.
Thank you.
We hope not to see you here anytime soon or at all for any incidents.
Not here, but I hope to see you guys at the restaurant.
That could happen. Maybe not. But I just want to caution you, Ms. Fiore. I know it's been a long road, and I can appreciate that. But the neighborhood council and planning board are very active in those communities, and they're going to be very concerned if, in fact, you know, there are incidents of, you know, loud noise or people fighting and, you know, some of the other things that we see. So, you know, you just want to make sure, because the commission has given you an opportunity that you know, make sure that things are run properly.
I will definitely. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next petition is the an all alcohol license for, no, that was not it. This is a continued petition for transfer of license and pledge for Ashpora Inc., DBA Winchester Liquors, located at 800 State Street. Jay, I'm gonna say Jay. Jay yes. Patel. Is Jay Patel here?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Good evening. This is attorney Ian Hedges here on behalf of the applicant as well.
Okay. Did we receive any public input, Attorney Days?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have questions?
Well, at the last hearing, we had not met the manager of record. Right. So we want to ask the manager of record the typical questions, right? Experience and residence and.
Right. The manager of record, Jay Patel.
Before, I just want to bring it to the attention that Jay Patel is my dad and he is not fluent in English, as even I'm not fluent, but I will try to translate if he has any hard time explaining. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, well, I guess it does raise some concern though, Mr. Patel. So he's the manager of record?
Yes.
Okay, so how does he communicate, or how will he be able to communicate with his English-speaking patrons?
He does speak English.
Oh, he does, okay.
He does, but all life we grew up in India, so has a heavy accent.
Okay.
And with his age, he moved back to this country in 2012. So he's not that fluent, but he will try his best.
Okay.
And he has been operating as a manager of other liquor stores since about 2013.
Okay.
So he is familiar with the process, and he is tip certified. So.
Okay.
So you said he has operated other liquor stores. Has he been manager of record for other liquor stores?
I believe he has, correct?
He
You're in the manager of other stores?
Manager
Yes.
of record on the liquor
Yeah.
license.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
where are
but-
those-
Is he
Yeah.
currently manager of record someplace else?
Yeah, as indicated on the manager application of VSOT Inc., he's currently the manager of record.
Where is that store?
Since trade varieties liquor store in Sturbridge, Mess.
In South Hadley?
No,
Sturbridge.
Sturbridge. ma'am.
Sturbridge? You're
Yeah.
you're the manager of record of a store in Sturbridge?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's an issue.
Right. It is my understanding and experience that if you are the manager of record at another establishment, you cannot be the manager of record for a second establishment. Am I correct, Attorney Days?
Unless they are directly adjacent, such as in an airport or a bus terminal or a train station.
Right, unless they're in close proximity, right? Because the concern, of course, is if he is a manager of record in Sturbridge and he's a manager of record in Springfield, which is what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes away, how does he adequately manage both stores?
Correct.
So maybe Attorney Hedges can speak to us about that.
Yeah, let me check the prior application for the Sturbridge location. So I apologize, I'm covering for Attorney Porter tonight. So.
Sure, not a problem.
Yeah. Trog, do you have the DBA of the store in Sturbridge?
Yes. It's a Fred's variety.
Okay. So yeah, so here on the application, he is indicated as the manager of record. So I would assume that in conjunction with this application, he would either resign from that position or severely curtail whatever hours he was working at that particular location and transfer over to the Springfield location.
So, it is my understanding that you would have to file on your application with a change of manager. Am I correct, Attorney Days?
Correct. It would be a change of manager application for the Sturbridge location.
Okay.
And if you
he has filed, or has he been removed from that location yet?
I can't speak to that. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. So is he currently the manager of record still?
Yes, he is.
Okay, has a change of manager been filed?
Not yet.
Okay, so.
May I add something?
Sure.
Yeah, so being said, for the Springfield location, my dad is planning to move to Springfield, regardless change of manager in Sturbridge location or not. Is it something count that he's willing to and planning to move in Springfield?
Well,
since he's going to be 4 hours up there.
Yeah, that's really not the problem, right? Because if he moves to Springfield, he still has the Sturbridge place, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
he's trying to, that's the issue, right? How can he manage Sturbridge in Springfield? Now, I guess, I imagine you shared that with us because, okay, he'll be close to the Springfield store, but it doesn't really solve the issue of him still being a manager of record in Sturbridge.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that will be, that's the concern of the commission.
Do you have somebody that you can appoint the manager of record of that Sturbridge store?
Yeah, I have another assistant manager, but I haven't asked him to give him a position, but I can find their way. I can promote him as a manager up there and remove my dad as a manager here in Sturbridge.
Right.
So, Attorney Days, how do we move forward?
I would suggest that at the very least you put the request on hold until such time that a change of manager for the other store has been heard at the other license commission and he's removed from that position. I think, again, it's a logistics thing, right? How do we grant him and have him become a change of manager at a store in Springfield, knowing that his time is occupied by the Sturbridge store? I think, he's got to be removed from the Sturbridge store. And then the application could move forward because he wouldn't be a manager of record in any other place. And again, to the earlier point, it would be one thing if, I don't know, down at the end of State Street, he's the manager of record, and maybe the next block, he's the manager of record. So they're in close proximity where, logistically, he could be in both places or go back and forth relatively easy. But Sturbridge is a ways away. And I don't think that he'd be able to adequately manage both properties.
Okay.
So that would be the concern.
You recall, I think within the last year, we had an application for a package store on Boston Road. And they had a location in Pine Point, and they had a location way out on the Wilbraham line. And the manager of record had to resign one location to move to the other. That was right here in Springfield, though. And they did keep their word. We approved it. And the very next meeting, we changed the manager of the other store. But this is entirely different, where it's two different cities. We would be dependent upon the Sturbridge board for approving a new manager of record there before we should approve him as a manager of record here.
Can I request that we continue this until next month to give the applicant time to file the change of manager application?
Surely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion that we continue this new petition until our April meeting. I'm not sure if somebody has a calendar and can tell me.
The April 13th would be the first meeting, and April 27th would be the second meeting.
Okay, so until April 13th, you think that's enough time, Attorney Hedges?
Yeah, I believe so. That should be plenty of time.
Okay, so is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez? Commissioner Ramirez?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, we'll see you then April 13th.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Andrew, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ming Dong?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So this is a a new petition for an all alcohol restaurant license for Korean Asian barbecue, DBA Korean Asia barbecue located on 1380 Boston Road. Ming Dong, manager of record.
Yes.
Hello. Okay, can you tell us what your experience is?
Before I'm working the other place for the manager. Mm-hmm. So this one is my second restaurant. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you a manager of record for a liquor license there in any of those two restaurants?
No.
No. So you don't have any experience as a manager of record?
Yeah.
Okay.
So but before I'm working for another restaurant for the manager.
So you've been a manager of record for the liquor license, not the restaurant manager, but the manager of record for the liquor license.
No.
No. Okay.
He's I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. So he's gonna get training our restaurant, which is next in West Springfield, and he's gonna get training for over 3 months to work as a liquor license manager in Crazy Seafood's West Springfield.
Okay, so he's going to have training for 3 months at Crazy Seafood.
Yes.
To learn the ropes of being a manager of record. That's what you said, correct?
And
okay.
We have a full set. Yeah, we have full set of experience serving full liquor license. So we're definitely gonna make sure we have him fully trained and well educated on all the liquor license code.
So is it, when you say training, are you talking about TIP certification or a corporate program? I'm sorry.
We have a TIP certified. We have a TIP certified program, and also we have a bartending program as well. All the state required license, we're gonna make sure he has it before he can operate the restaurant.
Okay. So you do know that with the certifications, you do have to keep your certificate at the restaurant at all times.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. How many employees, Mr. Dung, will be selling alcohol?
About 4.
About 4. And are they going to be TIP certified as well?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you do know, again, that everyone has to be certified. Anybody that is selling alcohol, serving alcohol, has to be certified, and you do have to keep their certification at the restaurant. Okay. Okay. Where do you live, Mr. Don?
I'm living the Lalo.
Lalo. Okay. So do you do understand that you have to answer to any violations, whether you're at the restaurant or not?
Yes.
And you're willing to accept that responsibility?
Yes.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have any questions?
What are your hours of operation, Mr. Chen?
I believe it's from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
So you're closing at 10 p.m. every day?
Yeah. And on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, we close 1 hour later at 11 p.m.
So 11 p.m. Okay.
Yep.
And that's Saturday and Sunday?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
So a true restaurant. And you did submit a menu. I have seen the menu. It's quite extensive and looks very good.
Yep.
I have a question.
It's pretty new concept.
Yes, hot pot.
When will those 2 trainings start for him?
Actually, he's in the training right now. We're training him as a store manager, on the hiring, training on the employee, and the next step, we're gonna train him as a bartender and the full liquor license manager as well.
So that's coming pretty soon?
I believe it's next week.
Okay.
So Mr. Dong, it sounds like that's a lot of responsibility. Are you ready for all that responsibility?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. My only concern is that a lot of the questions that I did ask were answered by Mr. Cheng and not you. So I'm a little concerned. You know, is this something that, do you really understand what what it means to be a manager of record, what the responsibility is, because, you know, like I said, a lot of the questions were answered by Mr. Chang and not you. Yeah. So I'm not sure that you know exactly what it is that's going on and the responsibility that it entails to be a manager of record for a liquor license.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got everything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understand. I understand everything. Yeah.
The other question too, Madam Chair, is there a communications problem with language?
Is there, what was your question again, Andrew?
Is there a communication, as we indicated before, with our previous person, that there might be some kind of communication issue? Is there a problem with communication or communicating with your customers?
I think, Mr. Dong, that question is for you. You don't see yourself having any problems communicating with the public?
Yes.
All right, so we'll get you that letter, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You meant to say no or yes?
No. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, you do have a problem.
Is there a language barrier that will keep you from communicating with the public or your customers that come into the restaurant?
I think no.
Mr. Dong, maybe we're not quite impressing upon you the importance of the position that you are assuming here. You are not just a waiter, you're not a bartender, you're not a, you are the manager of record on the liquor license. And this is a very big responsibility. And if there is a violation of liquor laws, you will be appearing before this commission as the manager of record to answer to those violations in a restaurant that is typically over-serving. And we have some very, very clever college students who will come in with fake IDs in order to get at scorpion bowls and rum runners, and they will be overserved. So you have to be very, very careful. Pay attention in your tips training on how to identify fake IDs, how to identify when someone is becoming overserved, and how to shut them off so that you do not have a violation and have to appear before this commission. Do you understand the level of responsibility that you are assuming?
Yes.
Okay.
I personally am concerned. I don't know about everyone else.
Mr. Chen, this is your restaurant, correct?
Yes.
Are you comfortable with this?
Here's the things. Mr. Dong is a little bit low profile guy. So a lot of times when he reacts, make you feel like he's like thinking about a lot of things. He do speak English very well. And I do have over 10 years experience of selling alcohol with no problem. So
you do,
yeah,
right?
Oh yeah. That's why.
Not him.
He worked. So we all communicate in the same language in my certain level because it's my restaurant. So also we're gonna hire like a tip certified employee as well. I do believe with the program we provide to all employee, and that they don't have a problem with serving minors, and we can shut people intoxicated out. And we've done it multiple times for doing that. And we have a big program for that. My thing is we ID every single customer, no matter who how they looks like. With a no ID or fake, we do gonna have a ID scanner. So with no ID or ID didn't go through with scanner, so we're not gonna serve their alcohol. And we set the program for that, so the way we can make things go easier.
Those scanners are not foolproof, And they will tell you that in your tips training. They're a guide, but the best observation is your eyes. And if this person to you does not look like they are 21, it is in your best interest to refuse to serve them rather than be caught with the serving to minors. You understand that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you know that the tip certifications expire and they have to be renewed.
Every 5 years, right?
And you want to keep the current certificates on file. So if there is a violation, we're going to want to see the tip certification for the person who overserved the customer. So you want to make sure that you keep everybody certified and current.
Absolutely. It's good reminder and make sure everything's up and cold and do it in the right way. Definitely.
So we do want to make sure that he understands, Mr. Dong understands that he is responsible and he does have to answer to any violations, whether he is there or not. Okay, yes. we need that to, you understand that clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the all alcohol license for Kareem Asian Barbecue.
This is a bifurcated meeting, right?
I'm sorry. Yes. So I make a motion that we continue this petition until our next meeting, which is the
we already said
23rd,
23rd.
The 23rd of March.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. So this is a bifurcated meeting, as Commissioner Singleton mentioned. So in 2 weeks, this will allow the public to send in any input that they have. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we go back to our final hearing for Delicia's Restaurant for the violations that we heard last week, last meeting, the violations for August 14 and 15 and September 17, 18, and 19. Attorney Days.
Will there be nothing further from the city in terms of arguments or final closings? You heard that at the last meeting, and the only thing left for those matters, now that the motion to recuse has been resolved, is your deliberations and whether or not there's a finding of responsibility for the violations that are at hand.
Any other commissioners have any input? Any discussion?
Yeah, I think we probably need to have some discussion in reference to, I know that there are a number of officers who've indicated that when they got to the location, they didn't hear any noise. And then again, I know that a number of the residents, they would not call that consistently if they didn't hear noise. And the same token, we haven't had any kind of proof that there is noise. We indicated that we wanted some kind of audio, maybe to hear some of the noise, or I haven't experienced anything. So moving forward, I would just have to go on what I've heard thus far.
Anyone else?
I agree with Andrew. We have numerous policemen that have been there and haven't heard a thing.
Okay.
Attorney Days, how do we ask for a motion? Or is there a suggestion on the table?
I don't have any suggestion with respect to how you guys decide, right? Because that was done in the prior hearing. So I'm not sure how you want to proceed, but I would suggest that you take each violation. So you got violation A, you have violation B, and I would suggest you vote on whether or not you feel that a violation occurred.
Okay.
If there's no further discussion.
Yes, for further discussion, Mrs. Prouty, she's here. I'd just like to ask her a question. Most of the times, do you hear thumping noises or do you hear actually music? Or is it more thumping?
Concerning these violations, it was actual music.
Oh, music, okay.
I'm sorry. Just for clarification though, evidence has already been presented. Ms. Prouty, as you know, you heard her testify at the last hearing. So it should be really limited to just your deliberations at this point.
Okay, all right.
So for the violation of August 14 and 15 for failure to abide by City of Springfield noise ordinance, is there a suggestion, a motion? How do you think we should, well, what should we do with those violations?
Do we have to do each individual violations?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, but they were coupled together. So A is August 14th through the 15th. So that would be one, and September 17th, I think it was just 17th and 19th. I don't remember, but just, I would take them individually. So do A and then do B.
Okay.
Any suggestions? Anybody wants to make a motion? With the information that we heard at the last meeting, do you feel that there are grounds for violation?
Hearing from the police officers, I don't feel there is a violation.
I'm not quite sure how the motion should read. So should the motion be make a motion that there is no violation for August 14 and 15 for the Delicias?
If that's Commissioner Siciliano's, sorry, I'm getting tired. If that's his motion, then he should present that motion.
Okay.
My motion is that on August 14th and 15th, I don't find a violation to the noise ordinance.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, on the second violation for September 17, 18th, and 19th.
Actually, Officer Delamarta, can you clarify that for us with respect to the date?
It's only the 17th, and it's only for the license restriction permitting patrons on the patio after 11 p.m. The board had previously voted a long time ago not to move forward with the noise violation. So it became just September 17th for the patrons on the patio after 11 p.m. in violation of the license restriction.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion on that violation? I'm sorry?
Yeah, Madam Chair, there was some indication from the police officers that they did see patrons on the patio.
Correct.
So I would move forward with a motion that we issue a violation for that. What that would be, maybe we can discuss that. But that would be the first violation for them?
Right. It is my understanding that is the first violation. So at this point, then what should that, there is a violation. So I know that it's either a letter in the file or a suspension, being that it is the first violation. If I'm correct, Commissioner Cade, I don't know if you can elaborate on that.
I know normally it's a 5-day suspension, and we can figure out how many days to serve, whether it's 1 or 2 days or 3 or whatever the case might be. So my recommendation would be a 5-day suspension, 2 days to serve.
2 days served?
Yeah.
Is that your motion?
That is a motion.
Okay. Is there a second? Is there a second for Commissioner Cade's motion?
I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I mean, I think 5 days is a little heavy. I mean, it was 11:15 or 11:20 or something at that point.
Well, that's the minimum I think that we can do, 5 days for the first offense.
Attorney Days.
That's correct.
Okay, so for the first violation, is it usually a letter in the file first? And then for the second violation, a suspension, or we can just jump right into the suspension?
You could do either or, but traditionally what we've done is if in fact the suggestion is a 5-day suspension, you can then, as Commissioner Cade points out, is you can have them serve some days and remain, put the balance in abeyance. You can have them serve all 5 days, but what we have done for first offenses have been 5 days.
Okay, so I know Commissioner Siciliano, I mean, what do you think, Commissioner Cade? Did they say 5 days to serve? But you feel it's a little.
Well, I mean, no, I think 5 days. 5 days is, if that's the norm, fine. But I think maybe a day.
Let me clarify though. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I'm clear. We have done letters of warning on first offenses too. So, but if you're going to impose a suspension, we start with the 5 days. And then as I pointed out, you can have them serve some, serve none, and hold the other ones in abeyance.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
No.
So Mike, what was your suggestion?
I mean, for 15 minutes, I think a letter would be fine.
Okay.
Okay, but you still have to deal with Commissioner Cade's motion.
Right, exactly. Right.
First, before you can take another motion.
Okay, Commissioner Cade.
Yes.
So your suggestion is 5 days suspension to serve. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will agree. I mean, I can withdraw my motion if my fellow commissioner indicates that he sincerely would like to issue that motion. I would withdraw my motion.
Okay. Thank you. So Mike, do you want to make your motion?
I'm making a motion to send them a letter stating a warning for patrons on the patio after 11 p.m.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. There would be a letter sent to placed in the file, right? Or a letter of warning, Attorney Davis.
May I ask a question too, Madam Chair? Does that indicate that there's a #1 violation with the letter? Does that indicate that there's one violation? Oh, one incident that's on the record?
Yeah, well, the incident, they've been warned not to do it again, which I think the inference is that they committed an offense, a violation, for which they're receiving a letter of warning. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next offense will be #2.
Correct.
Okay.
If it's found.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Days, if we are all done
I'm a commissioner now. I've been promoted.
I mean, I'm sorry. I am having a bad day today. I apologize for everything today. I'm having all day today. I've had a really bad day.
That's okay. Some days are just like that.
Today is one of those days for me. So Attorney Days, Ms. Prouty, then is she all set now? Because we're done with Delicias?
Yes, we're done with this Delicias for today.
Okay. Okay. Well,
thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Prouty.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe now we should go to the old business and hear the violation reports for February 23rd, 2022. If you remember, we did not hear those violation reports. Well, did everyone, did commissioners get a chance to read those reports from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. For Delicia's noise complaint for January 28, 2022. Is there a violation? Is there action or no action?
Which one are we looking at? I'm sorry.
The violation report for the last meeting on February 23rd. We didn't get a chance to review those last meeting.
So we had one for Worthington Discount Liquors and one for Delicias. Is that correct?
So
there were two for Delicias, right?
There was two for Delicias and one for Worthington.
Oh, all right.
Okay. So for Delicias, on January 28th, there is there is failure to abide by City of Springfield ordinance. Is there any discussion or should we take action or no action on Delicias?
Hold on.
I make a motion, we take action, being that I mean, from what I've read, it's the same complaint over and over again.
Alicia, do you recommend I abstain?
Yes. Just anything that has to do with Delicias, I think is dangerous.
Yep. Okay.
I agree, Madam Chair. I second your motion.
So
pre-hearing conference for this one?
Yes. Make a motion for pre-hearing conference for Delicia's restaurant noise complaint for January 28th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner
yes.
Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, Worthington Street. Or I should say Worthington Discount Liquors.
I'm sorry, was there a second one for Delicias or no?
There is, I'm just going down. Do you want me to go back to Delicias?
Oh, no, that's okay. Okay. Just go in the order you're going. That's fine.
Oh, okay. So February 3rd for Worthington Discount, I did not see a need for action.
No.
Yeah, no violation.
No violation, okay. So I
make a motion to take no action.
Make a motion to take no action. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, we're back to Delicias. There is a noise complaint for February 5th, 2022. And there is also one count of failure to abide by City of Springfield ordinance. Pre-hearing conference?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, make a motion for a pre-hearing conference for Delicia's Restaurant noise complaint on February 5th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, that concludes the reports from February. There's so much going on my desk here.
We're almost in the home stretch.
Almost, huh? For the, I can't find my reports for today.
Okay, let me help you out, Madam
yeah.
Chairperson. Okay, Malacone Restaurant, and this is an old assault of June 15th, 2021. And I believe those reports were sent to you for this hearing.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So how would you like to proceed?
The report says that the woman who was assaulted was drinking a glass of wine, and the license at this point had already been revoked. So they shouldn't have been, there shouldn't have been any wine being served. And I don't recall ever having a violation like this.
So that's, the incident happened before their license was revoked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it happened June 15th. I don't have that report in front of me. She may have made the report. She didn't report it right away.
Oh.
I believe it actually happened in February of 20.
Oh, yes.
It happened in February before the license was revoked. She was reluctant to come forward.
Oh, yeah, because it was her child's father.
That's right. That was in there, correct. So it actually occurred in February. She didn't report it until June. And at that point, it had already been revoked. That's why no report was submitted at that time.
Okay. So the only violation being proposed is the disturbance on the premise without calling the police. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a motion for a pre-hearing conference.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, the second one is
you
Top
got it?
Shelf.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you got it, okay.
It's in my face all along. So there was an incident, shot spotter activation February 21st for Top Shelf. I didn't read anything that I felt warranted a violation. Did anybody?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So I make a motion, no violation for Top Shelf for the shot spotter on February 22nd, 21st. Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. I think that's all on the agenda. Attorney Days, did we have something else?
I think that's it for tonight.
That's it.
You know what? Let me just quickly update you though. So I had a conversation with Phil Dromey about the order of things in terms of used to be planning, license commission, planning, license commission, right? And it appears that we're going to stay, I believe the governor extended Zoom hearings until, I think it's August 25th. It's either August 25th or July 25th, I can't remember. So we're still gonna stay in this posture in terms of there having to be bifurcated hearings. So as I communicated with, the concern was that if in fact the License Commission heard something and approved it and they had to go back to planning, that their recommendations could be opposite or it could be different from what planning board was recommending. I don't think that will be the case in all cases, but there might be cases that might have to come back before us, maybe. What I told Phil was that, in fact, and I also received a letter or two from members of the neighborhood council, in which what I assured them of is that their opinions would be taken into consideration. And if in fact we had to revisit something that the commission felt was appropriate to revisit, that in fact we would. So if the recommendations were different than what we had done. I do believe that in consideration of the fairness of licensees coming before us, that we should try to move the applications along as quick as possible. And again, as I said, I think it can be done in tandem. So with that, I am going to draft language, and it will only be temporary, right? Because when we go back to normalcy, whatever that means, but when we go back to normalcy, there'll only be one hearing, period, for everything. And but I think in the interim, in the interest of people trying to get their feet back on the ground and start new businesses and have various other things to do with their businesses, that we should try to expedite. And I think the easiest way to do that is to do things in tandem. So more to come at our next hearing. I'll have some language for us to take a look at. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I believe everyone will agree with me if I make a motion to adjourn at 7:03 p.m. Again, I want to apologize. I'm just not well today, so I'm not having a good day, and my apologies for being all over the place.
Madam Chair, you did a great job.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone have a good night.
See you later.
Commissioners, before you go, I received some bad news yesterday. Bob Casey passed away.
Oh, wow.
His wife called me yesterday afternoon.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, he fell and hit his head, and he had been having trouble regulating his blood pressure medication, and she thinks that's what happened. So,
my goodness.
Oh, poor Diane.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Sorry
you,
to end
Peter.
it on that note, but I wanted to share it with those who were there.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.